Well, in that case, let's just throw the floor open to general questions, because this is the last day. Things will be coming to an end at some point. So this would be the time, if there's anything in your manual that you're not quite sure about, any experience you've had, or anything like that. All right, who's over here? Go ahead.
You mentioned in the program that we'll be learning the Ledochowski protocol.
Yeah. The Ledochowski protocol is really, really complicated, right, guys? Really, are you ready for this? Resource, regress, reintegrate. I'm sorry if that overloads you a little bit, especially on the last day, but it is really complex. So the protocol, basically, to answer your question a little bit more directly, is the way you do that and let one thing flow into the other, so that one thing naturally causes the other to succeed. So the thing that causes the blitz to fail will make create the perfect conditions for mind-bending loops. The thing that causes mind-bending loops to fail will create the perfect condition for regression. The thing that makes all those things end up failing is the perfect condition for a path integration. Does that make sense? That's the protocol. And it's not going to be a test, but I'm not going to say, can you remember what the protocol is? All I care about is can you do it. I don't care what you call it. You can call it the cheese factor and the pig pattern and whatever you want to call it. I really don't care.
Still having a bit of trouble getting my head around mind-bending language. Would you be able to give me a really quick example?
About mind-bending language? What about the example is that you want?
Just how you'd actually use it. I understand what you'd say and what mind-bending language is, but how you would use it to get the result.
Oh, sorry. If you can understand the actual what you say bit, that's the easy part. The rest is the easy part. So all that happens is someone comes up with a problem, right? Give me a problem, for example.
I procrastinate.
You procrastinate, right? So let's say now you have just the PCAT formula. So we have the problem, procrastination. Right? Now, when and where do you do it? So we've got the problem is part one. Now we need a context. When and where? Give me a specific example you've done it.
At work.
When?
Last week.
Last week? What day?
Wednesday.
So we've got Wednesday, at work. Where specifically at work are you?
In my office.
In your office, and what happens?
I was due to do something and I didn't do it on time, and I did it much later.
What kind of time are we talking about here?
I should have done it. I had to have it on my boss's desk by 2 o'clock, and I had it on his desk by 5 o'clock.
And at what point were you doing the procrastination?
Sorry again?
At what point were you actually doing the procrastination?
Well, before I had to do it.
Yeah, which is what time? Give me a specific point in time when you realize you are procrastinating right now, where you should be doing this, but you're really not.
3 o'clock.
Okay. 3 p.m. So we've got a context, right? What do you want to do instead? How would you want to be different?
I want to be able to know that I've got to do it and do it on time or ahead of time.
To know you have to do it, or to actually do it?
To do it.
Okay. Great. So now we have parameters, right? That bit's easy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's go for the mind-bending language. So, how do you know you're procrastinating?
Because the work's not being done on time.
Because the work's not being done on time.
That's right.
Okay. What's timely about procrastinating then? What's so timely about procrastinating? Or do you have to work at that? Thank you. So, now we've done an MBL loop. Okay?
Okay.
Now, the place your mind went, do you remember a little diagram? Here was your problem. Ooh. This is what we call a trance of infinite possibilities.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, it means you can come down happy, come down sad, you come down, no big deal. Right?
Okay.
So, let's say you came down happy. That's a resource, right?
Okay.
So then you attach that to the problem, to 3 p.m. at work, and you're done. That's it. Finished. Dust your hands, walk off, whilst they stare in amazement at how wonderful a person you are, and go, I don't get it, but I feel great. Now, let's say that they come down neutral. Is that a resource? Is that a resource?
Yeah.
Neutral? No, exactly.
No, because it's still in exactly the same position.
Exactly. So you need to get them to a resource. So you ask them something along the lines of, how do you want to feel? If they're neutral, they can feel any way they want. It's just like, they can be happy, they can be sad. They get to choose. So how do you want to feel? And we'll say, well, I want to be motivated. So what's it like when you are? Well, I feel motivated. Great. As you feel motivated, because now they're here, see? you know, you're 3 p.m. at work without motivation, what happens? How does it work out? Right? Or they come out, all frumpy going, no, 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 no. There's all this work to be done and I still feel pretty bad about it. Right? Mm-hmm. So what do you do then?
More mind-bending language.
Exactly. What's so bad about doing work or something? Right? And the pattern, or the loop, shall we say, happens all over again. So this becomes a new this, that becomes a new that, and then the options become the same options again. You go round and round and round and round until the brain goes, enough, had it, finished, done it, dusted. The key thing is, when you have a resource, which is the access resource stage, you attach it, to the trigger, which is the problem, which is this bit here. The way you do it is just as you're feeling the resource, just go back to that context and notice what happens. See what happens? It's very simple. Like, this is the hard bit. The bit you get is actually the hard bit. Think of it this way. When someone's feeling good, what do you do with it?
You keep it going.
You intensify it, right?
Yeah.
And then what do you do?
Loop it around and keep it going. Just keep it going.
Okay, you've done all that. Now what do you do? Is it just about feeling good? Or is it about feeling good so they don't procrastinate anymore?
Yeah, you attach it back to the problem.
Exactly. And how do you do that?
By testing it.
Exactly. By thinking, have a look at the problem context. How do you feel? Well, I feel great. So you can do the work? Sure. You're done. You see, it seems like, I mean, what's going on through your mind right now?
Utter confusion.
Utter confusion. Do you understand this part here? How to get that? Okay. Do you understand how to do loops?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's the purpose of doing the loop?
The purpose of doing the loop is to get the person in the right state of mind so that you can attach it back to the problem in the first place.
Sure. Actually, technically, it's to get them into a trance of infinite possibilities, from which something might happen. So, there you do your loop, your mind-bending language, you're here, they go up, how do they come back? Just give me an example. It can be one of these three things. What happens?
They come back neutral.
They come back neutral, right? Is that what you need to do your work?
No.
So what do you need?
A better resource.
A better resource? How are you going to get that?
By using more mind-bending language.
Not when it's neutral. When it's neutral, you just ask the magic question, because they're ready to go anyway. You just ask the magic question, which is, by the way, in your manual, and it is somewhere on one of these walls. Where is the magic question? Anyone? Anyone? Oh, no, that's not it. Why are you all pointing in different directions? There you go. In the corner there, you see the PCAT? Under A for resources, and I think it's in your manual on page 50-something or other, or 40-something or other. Let me tell you exactly where the page is. 51 sounds about right. 51. Whoever said that, you just passed. Woohoo! Mark, you are hypno god. So here's the the access resource stage. Page 51. Right? So you've done your mind-bending loop. They've come out neutral, which is basically question number 2. How do you want to feel? You with us?
Yeah.
So are you on page 51?
Yeah.
So you look at the access resources bit.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're now in the access resources.
Yeah,
They've come out neutral, but you want them to have a resource, right? Mm-hmm. And if you ask them how do you want to feel, what do you think is going to happen?
They'll go into that state of...
Exactly, they can't help it, right? Mm-hmm. The only thing that would prevent them is if they're in a negative state, which is so strong that they actually can't even think of something positive, right? Yeah. That's why you did the mind-bending in the first place. So if they're neutral, there's nothing in the way, right?
Okay.
So there's nothing in the way. Asking them, how do you feel, it's going to do what?
It's going to bring about the state that you want.
Okay, and let's say you've got the state that you want. What are you going to do next?
Then you're going to ask them how they feel when they're doing the work, going about the problem.
Exactly. You first want to maybe intensify the feeling a bit to make sure it's nice and strong, right? And then you say very simply, and let's say I ask you, how do you want to feel? And you say, procrastination.
I just want to feel about procrastination. I just want to feel that I can do it.
Like you can do it. What's it like when you can do it?
I feel confident about doing it.
You feel confident, right? How do you know when you are feeling confident?
Because I look forward to doing it.
Because you look forward to doing it. Are you doing that now?
Yeah.
Great. As you do that now, just think about sitting at your desk at work at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. Next, what happens to all that work? There you go.
Yeah.
I've just done that. It's done. Does that make it clearer?
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead, Jeff.
When I was looking back through the manual, and all the way back to where you were teaching about abreactions, and I noticed it says there's actually two possibilities, and one is if the abreaction is related to the problem the person came to work with, then you can take them back straight into the regression.
Yep.
Would you need to pull them back to the safe place first and then proceed with the regression, or just go straight in?
This is a difficult one, because if you pull them back to safe place first, you're actually breaking the abreaction, which is the bit you actually want to follow. So, as a rule, make the assumption that if you're doing something hypnotic, you've already done CP1, the boilerplates 1, so it's already pretty much ready for you. If you're just chatting to someone conversationally, it's a different story, because if they abreact us as part of the conversation, then you've never not had a chance to actually create a context set for all that to happen, right? So at that point, it's a judgment call. If it's nice, the thing about it, an abreaction, if it's fresh, you can follow it, and it just does all the work for you. It's a no-brainer. The regression is instant. It follows it through. The memory's there. There's no critical factor interfering with it, etc. So you really want to follow it as fresh as you can. But it's a judgment call, because at the same time, you want to make sure you take care of the person. So if you think your maneuverability is smooth enough and you can handle it, then just follow the emotion as it's live. If you're doing a conversation and haven't had a chance to set things up beforehand. And if not, then just break it, set the safety stuff up anyway, and then see if you can re-trigger the reaction afterwards and follow through and do the whole regression work, etc. Does that make sense? But this is one of the reasons why I keep emphasizing boilerplates 1. If you make it just such a routine, that the minute someone closes their eyes or does anything vaguely hypnotic, you go straight into it, that question doesn't arise anymore, because you'll have already created it. It only takes a sentence to say, right? And you'll have already created the context that you need to have. Does that make sense? Who was next? There you go, Scott.
Coming back to the PCAT, how does asking the person to access their internal state generate a resource if you're in neutral state?
Well, first of all, neutral means there's no blocks in the way, right? Now, right now, you probably, if it would be fair to say that right now you're in a reasonably neutral state, or you're feeling really happy and excited, or you're feeling down and frumpy.
Feeling very anxious.
Are you?
Feeling very anxious.
Are you really?
Yes, I am really.
Okay, in which case we'll have to see if you're anxious. Are you anxious to get going with this, or are you something else going on?
No, I'm anxious about this.
You're anxious about this. Okay. So let's take. Oh, he's really in a happy place. I want someone are you neutral?
I'm neutral.
You're neutral. Okay. How would you like to feel? How would you like to feel right now? More calm, right? What's it like when you feel calm? Do you get the answer? Do you know what just happened there? It's a revivification done conversationally. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
What happened to the anxiety?
It's gone.
It has, hasn't it?
Yes.
It really, really has. Incidentally, do you notice what we just did there was also an example of the mind-bending language or non-awareness set? It's just this time, rather than using language to shift him, I used the person. But it's the same maneuver, right? Do you get to see this? It's the exact same maneuver. It's just it was easier for me to use another person for this and get the same result than have to spin his head around. Because the last thing I want at this point in time is to do much spinning of his head, because we're about to get into the clarity stage rather than the non-clarity thing, right? So hopefully you're getting how this is just it's a mindset, and everything around you is a tool to get this mindset done, and all the dynamic induction, the non-awareness set, and the mind-bending language, they're just specific focuses on a general principle, right? Thank you very much, by the way.
Oh.
You're doing great. Anyone else? So you guys all clear with this? You guys all clear with stuff in your manual? Okay. Any other questions at all about anything we've done? Life, the universe, anything? Wow, this is fantastic. Well, someone's done a good job. I'm not sure who.